my name is Jorge Reis. I spent the majority of my career at Telstra in various roles, not only domestically in the United States as head of operations all the way up through COO, but also ran all of Telstra's global procurement internationally for about 19 years. I left last year in January, and one of the things that I had always wanted to do was kind of start my own consulting business. And what I did was I reached out to several people that I knew in the industry, not necessarily telecommunications related, that may potentially require somebody with my skill set. Because of the fact that at Telstra, I dealt with so many things, both pre-sales and post-sales, that I thought not only in the US, but also globally, someone like myself could come in and help on certain projects, whether it be IT transformation or helping kind of put together an ecosystem of telecommunications providers or MSPs or whatever it may be, in order to help other customers kind of win business or do something internally that they wanted to do. And I started doing that last year, January. Didn't really know if it would take off. Kind of starting your own business is a little scary compared to working for a big corporate. But I've been having so much fun. Yeah. And a lot of the things I've learned, throughout my tenure at Telstra have really been, the experiences I've had have been really, really great in terms of me helping other customers kind of doing projects that they're doing.
Yeah, you have a really unique perspective around global technology and, global technology integration, really supporting the organization as the COO and the head of procurement. What are your thoughts and insights around technology today, the Internet of Things, and how things are progressing?
Sure. Being a COO and also a head of procurement puts you in a pretty unique position, because my remit as COO, I had pre-sales, which is kind of that direct frontline customer engagement, but also everything that we would sell, my team was responsible for delivering. So from a procurement aspect, my team had to ensure that the strategic and transactional suppliers that we had were always there and not going to let Telstra down, but absolutely not let the customer down. Yeah. So it put me always in a unique position of negotiating to ensure what were we looking out about, from a supply chain perspective, in order to make sure, one, was my team kind of focused on the right set of things with the customer, because I thought that customer connection was always key. And on the transactional side, what could I do with some of my vendors in order to deploy things or tools, platforms for which customers can be a bit more self-serve? And I started to find out that, in certain markets around the world, the kind of the acceptance from a supplier perspective of integrating with us from an e-bonding standpoint, API perspective, was probably not as, as mature as in the US. But my view has always been that, when you start having a conversation and kind of raise it up from a transactional to a more strategic level, you actually start to paint a picture of, hey, if you were able to offer me this type of engagement on a quote process or on an ordering process, I could potentially push more business to you. And the fact that you potentially could get me more information faster, that will put you in good standing in this region or in this part of the world for you to get more business. So I've always found that really resonates with respect to, getting their attention, because they know it's not just about this one order or this one opportunity. It's kind of I'm helping them shape kind of their roadmap of potential, IT architecture, and I'm utilizing it, or at least giving my ideas and what I'm seeing in the market, what customers are wanting, in order for them to do that for us. And it puts us, puts me in a good position, puts my customers in a good position. So at the same time, I also thought that Telstra went through a transformation starting probably 6 years ago, that, they were trying to not be known as a telecommunications company as much as a technology company. Right. And when you start talking in terms of technology, I think it changes the conversation completely with customers. Now you're not talking about how much is this circuit or that circuit. You're actually talking about what do we have in place that could potentially help them solve problems. So it's not about bandwidth or pipes. It's about, is there a platform that I have, whether it be through security or through cloud or through any other type of technology that I could potentially bring to the table to help a customer solve a problem. And we had started to develop, Telstra actually had even created a separate business unit to actually go after and invest equity stakes into companies that were coming on with new technology all over the world. And that helped us a lot in terms of changing the conversation with customers from a traditional telecommunications type of conversation to a more of a technology focused conversation.
Yeah. And I would assume that that really has lended you some great experience now on the consulting side of the business, continuing to expand services and offer, different. One of the other things that I know was a feather in your cap at Telstra was your ability to retain your employees. I think you had a 99% retention rate.
Correct. Yeah, and I think, given this extraordinary time, what I found working from home a lot, managing a global team, I was pretty much always home. So because I had folks in Asia, in Europe, in the US, I made time to make sure I connected with my team on a regular basis, understood what they were going through, try to help guide as much as possible, not only my direct line reports, but really made an effort to connect with the entire team on a monthly or quarterly basis to really bring everyone together because I couldn't be on site all the time. Although I travel quite a bit and I tried to be there in person as much as I possibly could, but I always made sure I connected with them, whether it be in the office in New York or traveling or one-on-ones in the evening or early morning team meetings. And I would never kind of cancel them. Nothing would ever come up. I would always make sure I made time for them because I felt it was important for them to let me know what they were happening, what they were doing, what experiences they were going through, where I could potentially help, where I could potentially give some insight. And I just found that the team really appreciated that. I think the team really always gave me feedback to say, you always tell a story, what's going on in the corporate world from a strategy perspective, but also you kind of then bring it down to terms that I can understand and then go and execute. And they were running their own team, so they could go back, and execute themselves. So I always felt that that was at the minimum that I could do. And it kind of translates it today, because today I'm working from home for the past year and a half, for the most part, other than traveling, meeting with customers. But it's the same thing. I always make the time. I think it's critically important to make the time to speak to your employees on a regular basis, because that rhythm really gets them energized. If they had a bad day, kind of you could change it a little bit up so that they're always not feeling alone, and they're feeling like somebody has their back. So I think that kind of was all part of it.
Absolutely. And energy has been so key. Now we've been home for roughly about 5 months, and everybody on my staff has done a great job keeping their energy up and staying engaged. But we have lulls, we have highs and lows, and we've implemented some technology tools, and we're actually looking at a migration right now to see how we can integrate some of our applications and platforms. So you had a heads up.
Yeah. I remember when I was at Telstra, we would talk about a deployment of a platform or CRM platform or HR platform, and you go through a cycle of 18 months. And, this pandemic has really, shined the light on companies that were prepared. Meaning, did they be flexible and responsive to the situation? Did they make the right decisions leading up to this? And the ones that hadn't had no choice but to start making decisions rather quickly. So the I guess the benefit of time, which in some cases I'm not clear is a benefit. I think my view had always been, you start off with a logical premise. Is this platform or tool going to give you all of what your employees need or all of what your customer needs? And if the answer is yes in the main, you continue to adjust. So as you go on and deploy it, you adjust, and you're not making it hard on the employees to adopt the use of it, or you're facilitating a process by which will make their life easier. And potentially you're making things a lot simpler and efficient. But this will be a lesson for a lot of companies that didn't plan, so that when you get out of it, there'll be quite a lot of lessons learned. And I think companies will be better for it.
I agree. And I think that there's been a unique opportunity to decide, what path you're going to take and what type of company that you're going to be at the end of this. Generally, what advice do you have for employers around retaining their employees?
I'm a very data-driven person. So the view is, I've seen employees with a lot of potential that without the right guidance and leadership never get to see their full potential and kind of become demoralized or look to quit or, don't really put in 150%. And when you're running a business, customer experience has to be has to be a passion for everyone. And when an employee isn't doing things at their full potential, or they don't feel they're being heard, or the working environment isn't a place where they can grow, I think the customer experience starts to suffer, the business starts to suffer, and then it's very difficult for you to kind of create that internal team that actually is there for you, thinking, through the hardest moments, and on some sort of employee feedback, EES type feedback, and look at it probably second quarter of last year, calendar year, and second and third quarter of this year, and see where have the managers potentially fallen down, because it's, a manager being face to face in the office every day may be different when now they're working from home. So it'd be a good test to see how we've been able to maintain that level of productivity, that level of excitement, that level of, they're happy to work in that workplace. Has that maintained, or has that gone down? And if it has gone down, why is it? Is it because now the home environment is a different environment? Are people working longer hours? Are the meetings that have been scheduled not actually, taking place? There could be a wide variety of reasons, but I think employees will always give you feedback in general themes of what they liked about being in the office, what then they thought was different once they had a remote manager and they were remote themselves. And I think that kind of comparison of year on year, especially given the, what we've been going through the past 4 or 5 months.
And I think to your earlier point, I think as a leader, your employees see if you do what you say you were going to do. And your earlier point is, if you had a one-on-one scheduled, if you had a call scheduled, things didn't come up. And I think that that's key.
Absolutely. And, do they have something as simple as, do they have the right tools? Do they have a PC? Do they have a printer? Do they have, the right broadband connection? I mean, these are things that...
Do you have the right printer? I think nobody has the right printer anymore. I don't have the right printer. No printers.
Schools are making kids print a lot of stuff, so
Oh gosh. Tell me about the technology that you are most excited about right now. It can be related to what you're doing for your consulting company. It could be something you've implemented in the past.
Drone technology, and kind of IoT and drones and everything drone related to me, I think fascinates me. I was able to get my son small kind of drone, DJI drone, and I've been playing a lot with it, and just the capabilities that it has, and the uses that I've been reading about, just in terms of, managing, tracing of infected patients as an example, or monitoring situations, I think has been phenomenal. I just think that there's so much more we could potentially be doing with drones, especially as we're in a state now where folks are saying, person-to-person contact should be limited to your house. So if you go down that path and you continue to go down that path, you have to do things with other devices that can be easily integrated through IoT to kind of allow to continue to live our life, at least for this short while.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one. Any parting thoughts?
Listen, I think that this situation that we're going through now forces everyone to start thinking in a different way. And the advice I've kind of given myself and communication with other people, not only in the industry, but other, businesses, has been that take this as an opportunity to really reflect on what has worked, what hasn't worked, and do something for yourself as well. I mean, if it's something as little as, spending more time with your children instead of doing a full 8 hours straight a day, you probably will never get this opportunity again, at least not in our lifetime, knock on wood. In our lifetime, this will never happen again. So therefore, utilize the time that you have now to really do something meaningful, to help recharge and to give you some new insight, so that when you do go back, whether it's through remote working or through kind of a hybrid partial office situation, that you come out of this, better.
Absolutely. And I think that's great advice for both the employees that are currently employed and folks that are looking for a new opportunity. Skills development. I mean,
Mhm.
LinkedIn, as I understand it, is providing their skills development platform for free right now. So what you would generally have to pay for, you're getting for free. And, I think that's just a really unique opportunity you can take advantage of right now.
Absolutely. And, and you should, and, time is ticking. So the view is, let's, get on that as soon as you possibly can, because you will be better for it, over the course of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. It was great to see you.
It was great to see you, Heather.
I hope we're going to get to work together again.
Absolutely. I hope so.
Awesome. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you for joining me, Heather Moyer, President, CEO, and founder of H&M Systems.